The advancement and diffusion of knowledge is the only guardian of true liberty. The means of defense against foreign danger historically have become the instruments of tyranny at home. The powers delegated by the proposed constitution to the federal government are few and defined. Those which are to remain in the state governments are numerous and indefinite. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. Justice is the end of government. It is the end of civil society. It ever has been and ever will be pursued until it be obtained, or until liberty be lost in the pursuit. A well-instructed people alone can be permanently a free people. The essence of government is power, and power, lodged as it must be in human hands, will ever be liable to abuse. The circulation of confidence is better than the circulation of money. Liberty may be endangered by the abuses of liberty as well as by the abuses of power. The truth is that all men having power ought to be mistrusted. Where an excess of power prevails, property of no sort is duly respected. No man is safe in his opinions, his person, his faculties, or his possessions. The proposed constitution is, in strictness, neither a national nor a federal constitution, but a composition of both. Religion and government will both exist in greater purity, the less they are mixed together. The happy union of these states is a wonder, their constitution a miracle, their example the hope of liberty throughout the world. The great desideratum in government is, so to modify the sovereignty as that it may be sufficiently neutral between the different interests and factions, to control one part of the society from invading the rights of another, and, at the same time, be sufficiently controlled itself from setting up an interest adverse to that of the entire society. A government that does not trust its citizens to be armed is not itself to be trusted. Learned institutions ought to be favorite objects with every free people. They throw that light over the public mind which is the best security against crafty and dangerous encroachments on the public liberty. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power that knowledge gives. The safety and happiness of society are the objects at which all political institutions aim, and to which all such institutions must be sacrificed. The rights of persons, and the rights of property, are the objects for the protection of which government was instituted. These rights cannot well be separated. Government is instituted to protect property of every sort, as well that which lies in the various rights of individuals as that which the term particularly expresses. This being the end of government, that alone is a just government which impartially secures to every man whatever is his own. The definition of the right of suffrage is very justly regarded as a fundamental article of republican government. The regulation of it is, at the same time, a task of peculiar delicacy. The great question to be examined is, who are the electors? The internal effects of a mutable policy are still more calamitous. It poisons the blessings of liberty itself. It will be of little avail to the people that the laws are made by men of their own choice if the laws be so voluminous that they cannot be read, or so incoherent that they cannot be understood. The loss of liberty at home is to be charged to the provisions against danger, real or pretended, from abroad. The most productive system of finance will always be the least burdensome. The legitimate meaning of the Constitution is to be ascertained by the natural and obvious meaning of the provisions. It is not to be questioned whether the Constitution is of binding force. The very idea of the power and the right of the people to establish government presupposes the duty of every individual to obey the established government. In framing a government which is to be administered by men over men, the great difficulty lies in this: you must first enable the government to control the governed, and in the next place, oblige it to control itself. It is essential to such a government that it be derived from the great body of society, not from a favored class of it. The Constitution preserves the advantage of being armed, which Americans possess over the people of almost every other nation where governments are afraid to trust the people with arms. The proposed Constitution, therefore, is, in strictness, neither a national nor a federal constitution, but a composition of both. War should only be declared by the authority of the people, whose toils and treasures are to support its burdens. The civil rights of none shall be abridged on account of religious belief or worship, nor shall any national religion be established. The rights of conscience shall be inviolable. I go on the principle that a public debt is a public curse, and in a republican government, more than in any other, it is essential to avoid contracting debts as much as possible. The liberties of people never were, nor ever will be, secure when the transactions of their rulers may be concealed from them. If tyranny and oppression come to this land, it will be in the guise of fighting a foreign enemy. Crisis is the rallying cry of the tyrant. The powers of the federal government should be exercised directly on the people in cases of taxation and be drawn indirectly in the cases of war. The rights of the people must be secured against the dangers of usurpation as well as of abuse. The effect of a government is to be measured not by its laws but by its administration. The regulation of commerce is not in itself an end, but a means, the means of securing other ends of paramount importance. The first and most important duty of government is to protect the people. Power over a man's subsistence amounts to a power over his will. A popular government without popular information, or the means of acquiring it, is but a prologue to a farce or a tragedy. The safety and happiness of society are the objects at which all political institutions aim, and to which all such institutions must be sacrificed. The means of security can only be found in the system itself. It is the duty of every man to render to the Creator such homage, and such only, as he believes to be acceptable to him. The capacity of the government is indeed restricted by the limited and enumerated powers vested in it, but it is in no way hindered in making the fullest use of those powers. The real power of government lies not in the laws written in its books, but in the understanding and spirit of the people. The great object of the federal constitution was to provide a system of laws that would secure the liberties of the people against both foreign encroachments and domestic tyranny. The best means of ensuring the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity is by maintaining a government founded on principles of justice, virtue, and equal rights.